Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make this quick because I need to leave. Mike Moyle, District 10. We're blessed to live in the great country we live in, the United States of America and in the state of Idaho. In our country, the U.S. Congress makes the laws that govern all the land. And in Idaho, we make the laws that govern here in Idaho. And together they work to govern us all. A concern has happened lately as we've seen some actions in other parts of the country where laws other than those created by you all in the U.S. Congress are being used in courtrooms. What we're trying to accomplish with this bill is to make it clear that in Idaho, American laws will govern in Idaho courts. It's that simple. We don't want some of the concerns we're seeing elsewhere in the country to infiltrate Idaho. We just want to make it clear the laws you create and that Congress creates are the laws that we will use in the state of Idaho in our courts. With that, Mr. Chairman, I have to go because the last one lasted a little longer. So if it privileged the chairman, I would like to defer to Representative Tanner to continue the debate. And I thank you for the opportunity to be before you today, and I apologize. It's kind of fun watching what you debate in your committee, though. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for being here. Representative Tanner.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. I'm Steve Tanner from District 13, Nampa. And this bill, what I'd like to do is I'd like to just sort of like summarize this bill in sections real quick, just for familiarity. But it's just what this bill is. It's very straightforward. It's a statement that makes the case, for the primacy of American laws in American courts. What is a foreign law? It says on page 1, line 25, the following. Foreign law is a legal system from a jurisdiction outside the United States. Simple. And also says on line 30 that does not include the laws of American Indian tribes. And then also I'd like to point your attention before we go through it all to look at the section called applicability at the bottom that kind of carves out some exceptions. It's like what we're not talking about. What we're not talking about. So under page 2, beginning of line 39, this chapter shall not apply to corporations, partnerships, limited liability companies, etc. Number 2, this chapter shall not apply to a contract entered into prior to the effective date of when this act becomes law, and then provisions of this chapter shall not be construed to limit First Amendment exercise of freedom of religion. So we're not going to any of those places in what I'm going to say here. So what I'd like to do is just kind of like point to the various sections of this. That you see in there, there's a section that's called foreign law enforceability. So basically what that is just a statement, saying that, the public policy of the state of Idaho is basically that if we were to ever to use a foreign law, if there would ever be an arbitration panel, a tribunal, anywhere that uses a foreign law that in any way limits the fundamental rights of a resident of Idaho, rights such as the right to privacy, to marry, due process, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, press, and so on, not an exhaustive list at all, then such law shall be, or a decision made by a court using that kind of law is void and unenforceable in Idaho. Plain and simple, that's state policy. Then it talks about the choice of law. In cases where there are contracts, where a private party gets into a contract, and the contract specifically calls out and says, look, if there's going to be a need for arbitration, if we need to decide on any problems here, we're going to use the laws of a foreign country. We're going to use, South Africa, for example. The laws that prevail there. And then the decision is, if the court were to allow that, then and they would violate the fundamental principles that I just read over, then that would be void and unenforceable in Idaho, right? We wouldn't accept that. Under the section called jurisdiction, it says that if a contract selects that a specific court would have jurisdiction over an Idaho resident, then, and the same thing there. If it violates the fundamental rights and principles, guaranteed under the Idaho and U.S. constitutions, then, those would be void and unenforceable in Idaho. And I'm just thinking of like a case, for instance, if you went on a cruise ship And there was if you read in the contract, there'd be an arbitration clause. It said, okay, well, all disputes are going to be handled in, again, South Africa. So those are the kinds of things that that section talks about. And then there's the final section, which I hope I pronounce it right, the forum non conveniens. But this is different. This is not where a contract decides, the kind of foreign law that's going to be used, or maybe a specific court where a foreign law is used. But in this case, a person says, I think I could do better if I could get this case transferred someplace else. And so that's what this person decides. So in all of those cases, we're saying no. The Idaho constitutions and the U.S. constitutions, they're going to prevail. They're going to prevail. We're not going to let you, in any case, state policy, we're not going to let you override, the rights, the basic rights and privileges of a resident of Idaho. So with that, I'll stand for questions.
Representative Gannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Tanner. So what about if we have a treaty with a foreign country that would affect the laws that would be applicable to a particular situation? Do you have any legal opinions or evidence that this particular proposal could supersede treaties that the United States may have entered into?
Chairman, Representative Gannon, so when you say, I want to be sure about your question, you say that treaties we may have, you mean we, the United States, or?
The United States, yeah, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman and Representative Chandler, yes, treaties that the United States of America may have entered into, maybe regarding nuclear waste, or, I remember several years ago, there was Kuwaiti sand, nuclear contaminated sand that came to a depository in Elmore County. Mm-hmm. I don't know which law is going to apply there, but if there was some kind of international agreement, could this bill create a problem or a conflict such a conflict as would create a problem for all of us?
Yeah, Chairman. Representative Gannon, I would think that would fall under the first exception that we talked about. That's under the applicability section.
Okay. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but yeah, maybe you got to look some legal opinion or something that would help. I don't know.
Did you have a follow-up, Representative Gannon?
Yes, one other. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Representative Tanner. One other thing that I recall is back in 2014, I think the legislature enacted a law that affected child custody and child support internationally, and basically said that, as I recall, that the state of Idaho would not respect the state of Idaho courts would not respect, say, a Bosnian court or another courts, and we got into a lot of trouble, and we ended up having to have a special session. Mm-hmm. Did you, or could you, take a look at that and make sure that we're not getting into some kind of situation like that again? Because, or maybe somebody has already analyzed, and I don't mean to put all this on you, because you've obviously had some legal help here. And
You have a response, Representative?
Chairman, thank you. Representative Gannon, you said that was 2014, correct? That was right. So if that was the contract entered into, and back then it would not be touched by this, because this only affects contracts going forward from the point of time that this gets signed.
Representative Hawkins.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we introduce House Bill 602 with a due pass.
That's Representative Ehart.
And Mr. Chairman, Representative, might I offer a quick lifeline?
Point of order, real quick.
Yes, Representative Scott.
Thank you. It was to introduce, he had a motion to introduce, it's to send to the floor with the due
Yes,
pass.
Oh,
It's the
I
wrong
did
motion.
not listen. Representative Hawkins, do you want to amend your motion?
Well, if I do this properly, I will seek unanimous consent to remove the motion I just made incorrectly.
Is there any objection to the request? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we send House Bill 602 to the floor with a due pass.
Thank you, and thank you, Representative Scott, for that. Now, who did I call on next?
Mr. Chairman, you had called on me, and I can save it for discussion or offer a lifeline, having had this legislation also, so, to the questions asked. Yep. Mr. Chairman, Representative, in the first one that the good representative asked regarding treaties in which we enter into, certainly there's obviously the supremacy, but also those treaties are not, those are treaties that probably would have zero to do with Idaho, and they're foreign treaties that would have nothing to do with this. And as far as the 2014, I think it was 2015, again, we're also talking laws governing what we do right here.
Oh.
And so I don't think there would be an effect at all.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Hill.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I had a comment. I just want to bring the fact that the Speaker worked on this, the Majority Leader worked on this, and multiple other people worked on this. This has been in action for years with a lot of real smart people looking at it. It's really important, and I think it's very precise. I think this is an awesome bill. Obviously, I'm on the list, but I think this is a great bill. We were trying to get this out for 10 years, and I think this is awesome. We got this going.
Representative Gannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Representative Tanner. So I did get a lifeline answer to the question about treaties. If you take a look at page 14, line 13 through 16, somebody did address that particular concern, and they are apparently
Representative Gannon, could you state that page again?
page 3. It's page 3, line 13.
We're missing some pages.
Yeah, they gave me the wrong page. But Matthias gave me the wrong page. But but apparently treaties, somebody did notice that particular issue, and treaties are exempted from this particular bill, which is a good idea.
Thank you for that follow-up. Okay, seeing no further red lights, Representative Tanner, you may take a seat. We do have one person to testify before we take a vote on that motion. Caleb Pierce. Welcome to committee. Identify yourself, who you represent, if anyone, and continue.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Caleb Pierce. I serve as General Counsel for Idaho Family Policy Center, as well as the Director of its Legal Center. Here today to support House Bill 602. Courts have long grappled with how to handle conflicts of law in scenarios in which the parties or facts of the case require the application of some law other than the law of the forum state. Different approaches have been used, with legal academics debating the merits of each approach. But what scholars have agreed on is the importance of some version of a public policy exception that limits the application of foreign law when it conflicts with the state's public policy. That's all this bill does. It codifies and expands this approach to handling conflicts of law, providing clarity for Idaho's judiciary on when foreign law would violate Idaho's public policy and be inapplicable. The American legal system has fostered human flourishing like no other legal system in world history. Our founding fathers built our constitutional order upon the English common law and the Christian view of higher law. These men were guided by their belief in God and a legal tradition which traces its roots back to Moses, St. Thomas Aquinas, Sir Edward Cook, and Sir William Blackstone. This enduring legal framework has served to protect our God-given rights even to today. And protecting that system of American law in Idaho courts is essential to ensuring the continued common good of the citizens of Idaho. We're grateful for the efforts of the sponsors to ensure that Idaho courts continue to apply that legal framework in our courtrooms, and we urge you to send House Bill 602 to the floor with a do pass recommendation. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? Mr. Pierce? You ripped through that pretty fast and well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, see no further red lights properly before the committee. H602 has a motion to send it to the floor with a do pass recommendation. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.